In this video, I am going to be breaking down how I went from just a senior portrait photographer to a multi-six-figure passive income-based online business in the last 5 to 6 years. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, keep watching. My name is Hope, and I am a photographer turned business coach, and this YouTube channel is where I share education for entrepreneurs, as well as a little bit of a peek into my life living in the low country here in Savannah, Georgia. And this YouTube video is one that I'm a little bit nervous to film because this isn't something that I really talk about. This isn't a topic that I share about. I don't love talking about revenue and money, but I also have been someone that from the very beginning of my photography business, back when I was a 16, 17-year-old high school student, I taught workshops for other high school students that wanted to learn how to use their camera because I've just always believed that anything that I learn in my journey of being a business owner isn't mine to gatekeep. I want to share that, and I want to help other people be empowered to do the same thing. And I just genuinely believe that. So the title of this video and the topic of the fact that I make multiple six figures in revenue is in no way meant to come across as bragging. And I want to just start with that. This is not a video that is meant to come across as, look at me and all these things that I've done. It is meant to answer a question that I get asked frequently, like, how do we get from point A to point B? How did we go from service-based photographer to scaling tons more revenue, but doing it online and having more time than you've ever had? Like, how did we get there? And the second purpose that this video serves is to hopefully give some hope and encouragement and get your wheels turning on ways that you could scale your own business and diversify your revenue to have the same result in your own small business and your entrepreneurship journey. So I'm very excited to talk about it, but I just don't want it to come across as anything other than my hope for it being encouraging and educational and value-packed for you. So hopefully you see my heart in that, but let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. So really quickly, actually, before I dive in, there's a free gift for you down in the description below. I have put together a free quiz where you can answer some questions about you, your business, your customers, your offers, and get a free email template sent directly to you that you can copy and paste and use as your welcome email in your email marketing strategy. You're gonna hear in this story that that's kind of how I got started in passive income, was implementing this concept of email marketing into my business. So I've put this quiz together to be able to give you a free resource that you can immediately take and use to implement some of what we're going to talk about. So linked in the description if you would like to take that quiz and grab that free result. But let's talk about this. We're gonna go on a walk down memory lane, and if you have any questions or want me to elaborate on any element of this story, drop it in the comments down below. I've really enjoyed making more business and marketing and strategy related videos over the last few weeks, and I'd love to create more of them if you guys have any questions for me. So let's start with how I got started really quickly. So I began my business as a high school student. I was a junior in high school. I was only 15 years old. My dad was in the military, and I signed up for a photojournalism class without him knowing it that required a DSLR camera in order to be in the class. And I went to the first day of class with a tiny, tiny little used pink point and shoot camera, and the batteries were being held in with a piece of tape. And the teacher, in front of everyone, I was the only student that didn't know what a DSLR was, called me out and said, you can't use that camera in this class. So I went home and I begged my dad, who at the time did not have extra money to be dropping on a camera. And we bought a less than $300 used camera on eBay so that I could take this photojournalism class. Fast forward to my senior year, I had built a business on photographing senior portraits for my friends, and I actually decided to quit my part-time job at a retail store at the time, and I went full-time right out of high school. I ended up revoking my college admission about a month before I was supposed to leave, and I went full-time that year. And that year, I was actually able to make 6 figures in revenue as just a photographer. I was teaching little side classes for other high school students and one-on-one mentoring if people asked just about how to use your camera. I didn't know anything about business yet, but I did know how to use a camera. So I was teaching people about that in person here and there, but otherwise, the majority of that 6 figures in revenue was service-based. So as any other photographers and business owners probably know, when you are trading your time for money, you can burn yourself out very, very quickly. very, very quickly. And that is exactly what I did in 2015. It was my first year out of high school. I felt this need to prove to everybody around me that this photography little side hobby that I had started could be a full-time career. And I did that because I made enough money to sustain myself, but I didn't do it in a healthy way. I was drowning. The way that I was working was not sustainable. And I had this passion for teaching and educating that was growing very quickly alongside my photography business. So fast forward 2016 and 2017, I started to teach more frequently. So this is kind of where the education side of my business was really born, because I started getting more demand for one-on-one mentoring. And behind the scenes, I was blogging any questions that I got about cameras and gear and photography. I was blogging the answers to those questions so that I had public content that people could access to get answers to their questions. So this education side of my business was kind of growing alongside of my actual photography business. I started doing more one-on-one coaching and raising the price of that. I got a studio space so that I could separate my work and my life a little bit. I was obviously still living at my parents' house, so it gave me somewhere to go to focus on work. And then I started hosting workshops in that space. So I would have 12 photographers come for a one-day workshop that turned into a 2-day workshop. And all of this was still service-based, right? It was still me trading my time for money, but it was becoming a little bit more scalable and a little bit more focused on education as we went into 2016 and 2017. In 2018, I decided, after multiple years of hosting workshops, creating free content for photographers, and mentoring photographers one-on-one, that I needed to create some form of education that was more accessible for people than flying, sometimes across the country or from outside of the country even, to meet me at one of those workshops. I could only do 3 or 4 a year. With all of the expenses of hosting those events, I was very rarely profitable, so I needed to find an alternative, right? So this was in 2017 to 2018 range is when I really started to research what it could look like to have a digital business or an online course or some form of revenue that wasn't directly related to my time and was more scalable because it was something that could be done online. And because my passion for teaching was growing and my demand for education was growing, the natural next step was to create some form of more scalable online education. And around that same time, I will always vividly remember that I had a meltdown of the century in my parents' basement. I had my own house at this point, but I had come over for dinner, and I had been in and out of the hospital with autoimmune issues from stress and exhaustion from how much I was working. And I sat down with my mom and I was like, something has to give. Something about the way that my business is being run has to change, or I'm not going to be able to sustain this. Like, my friends are all at college having a great time and I'm exhausted. What in the heck did I do with my life choices? And so that was kind of the pivotal moment for me where I was like, okay, I love teaching, I love educating other people, and I also have to make a change, or else I am just going to run myself into the ground. I knew that I needed to diversify my revenue and make it more scalable in order to survive. And that the only way to do that I was going to be excited about was educating other photographers. So I filmed my very first online course. It was a voiceover of PowerPoint slides that I filmed in my parents' basement with just a microphone. And I launched that first course in 2018. Since then, I have launched 2 other signature courses. I refilmed that first one, then refilmed the second one because I did not do a good job the first 2 times. So I didn't do a bad job. I just wasn't thrilled with them. So now I have 3 signature online courses. And then I created a membership for photographers. So now I have recurring revenue every month with an online membership for photographers that was created in 2021. And then last year in 2022, I launched an online shop of digital products that are lower ticket offers than those 3 signature courses. In the midst of all of that, I also scaled an affiliate side of my business. So I reached out to the programs and the partners and the products that I use on a regular basis, and I'm an affiliate for them. So when I'm naturally teaching photographers about my camera bag, I can link my camera bag and they can buy the camera bag and I get a little bit of a kickback. Same thing with some of the programs that I use regularly in my business. So now in my business, I photography only makes up about 20 to 30% of my revenue. The digital side of my business and the education side makes up the majority of the rest. And I say that because I felt so stuck back in that season of my life where I was just doing photography full time. I was drained, I was exhausted, I was literally in and out of the hospital because my body was exhausted and something had to change, and I didn't see a clear path for what my life looks like now. So now I'm able to live a lifestyle of freedom and work-life balance and boundaries and saying no to offers that don't serve me so that I can say yes to ones that do. And I just really believe that somebody needed to hear kind of the trajectory of how that all progressed in order to get their wheels turning on what this could look like in their business, what they could start offering and plant the seed for now, so that 3, 4, 5 years from now, you can have a digital side of your business. Whether you want to be an educator or not, anybody can create digital offers and products that are more scalable and more passive than just service-based business. And I really believe that, especially in 2023, it is necessary to diversify your revenue and have multiple different types of streams of income. So now I have the photography, I have the digital courses, I have the membership, I have the affiliate income, and I have my digital products in my online shop. You don't need all of those. You can just pick one additional form of revenue to add into your business, and it will change everything for you just to have money coming in that isn't a direct exchange for your time, because your time is precious. It is so valuable, and I want you to have as much of it back as possible. So I've actually created a couple of other videos on this topic on my channel, specifically surrounding passive income and passive income types for photographers. So go ahead and search that on my channel if you want to dive further into this topic. But I essentially wanted this video to serve as a place I can send people when they ask me how I got from point A to point B, and to hopefully get your wheels turning on what that trajectory could look like for your business and what diversifying your revenue could look like for you long term. And just as a reminder, email marketing is what made most of this happen for me. I implemented email marketing strategy in that 2017-2018 window when I launched my first course, and that strategy, that marketing, that consistency, that automation is what has allowed me to get to where I am now, which is why we've been talking about it so much on this channel. And lastly, again, that link in the description down below will take you to the free quiz that can help kickstart this process for you by giving you a free template that is customized to your business, your customers, and your offer that you can copy and paste and use as a welcome email in your next email sequence. So I hope this video was interesting and insightful. I hope you see my heart in it. Please let me know if you have any questions down below. I'd be so grateful to have you subscribe so that I can teach you more about this type of content. I post new videos every single week, and I will see you next time. Bye.